Live from the Duckling Pond, just northeast of the Dwarf Cave, this is Spring Tournament 2019 Final Fantasy Randomizer Action, the rubber match between Tarnin and Dengwoo. I am your host tonight, Kyu Katsuki. Joined to me in the comm booth is Woat. Woat, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Q. Yeah, no, this is a classic tortoise and the hare match, and if the last two are anything to go by, the lesson here is that Aesop was full of crap.
Quite. That was definitely the case. But we do have a party that's been agreed upon, once again, between Tarnin and Dengwoo. They're going double captain. The first mate was a black belt, and they both agreed to a thief. So, interesting party comp. Once again, a heavy physical party comp. What do you think? Who do you think is going to be?
I think Darnin's probably going to keep the thief up over the black belt, and I expect Dengwoo to probably do the same thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps the black belt and Dan's the thief.
Yeah, I mean, it really is depending on what they find early on. If you find a lot of your loose items early on, and you're in go mode earlier, I think you kill out the black belt and keep the fighters. I think a big thing, whether or not you keep the thief, is what we see in Black Magic 1 through 4.
I mean, you keep the thief up because the thief can run away, and when you don't have AoE, being able to get out of fights that are going to take you, a minute or more to clear because you're having to punch everything to death, that's more valuable than even level 1 through 4 Black Magic.
Yeah, it's quite true. Again, we have 3 to 4 loose night, with the incentivized items being the quest items, the ribbon, and the opal bracelet. You cannot get your early stage items until you kick the Lich. So kill the Lich, kick the Lich, do whatever you need to do to the Lich. You gotta take care of the dry clean. Ordeals, Ice, and Marsh key locked are on the table for incentivized items. And, I mean, this is going to be a heck of a seed with no early magic once again.
Yeah, now, they may luck out and find some of the casting items early on. I know I've seen a few seeds like that with these flags, but it is definitely a situation where if you don't find that mage staff early, I cannot imagine you let that thief dirt nap, because, like I was saying, if you have a large fight, you have to be able to get out of it quickly, and that thief's your guaranteed ticket unless that fight's unrunnable.
Indeed, indeed. Now, the runner should be starting relatively soon, so in the chat, I see some Demon Frog, some Tristle, some Shadow Walker, Darkwing Drake, Narzut. For the people in chat, let's see some hype for this great run of Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer. This is the decider match. The winner of this goes on. The loser goes home.
And they are off. Both runners immediately checking the weapons shop because, well, they're gonna need weapons.
Ooh, Fade Knight learnable. That is big to find early on, at level 1.
Especially with them both having agreed to the double fighter setup. Now, that's at best only going to give them 8 shots of Fade, but it's 8 more shots of Fade than they otherwise would have had.
Another thing to note was the cheap pro rings for less than 6,000 apiece. That's always great to find, especially with this heavy melee comp.
Yeah, now the downside is they didn't find much in the way of armor early on. So they're going to be very dependent on that HP until they can find something to put on those fighters.
But unfortunately, with the shopping that they've done, the cabins were actually fairly expensive. I believe they were 340 gold apiece, and the houses were very cheap, though.
Oh hey, imps have glance.
Well, that's a statuesque encounter right outside of Corneria right then.
And we even got to see a little bit of what happens when you're using the 3-color palette setup. Yeah, House is the only save... Well, Tarnin's about to look. Yeah, so... this is one of those fun openers. because you can't fight imps for experience. So your choices are make your way over to the encounter zone near the dwarf cave and see what you can see, or just try to find a spot in the table that lets you get up to Temple of Fiends and hope you don't run into any of the imp encounters up there.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those seeds that, you know, I like to see. You don't have the safety of the early cabins, the early houses, until you get a decent chunk of money. So you gotta make a choice on that.
And it looks like Deng is opting for the, hey, let's go to see what Dwarf Cave has, in case that can make my life easier. Mr. Versetti, I believe pirates are unsafe.
Pirates are unsafe, but they still have the lowest HP value in the game. Even with melee strats, they'd really need to be packing something particularly nasty to be unsafe.
I mean, them packing things nasty is the reason we have that flag in the first place. Deng's gonna go ahead and turn in this TNT, and that's gonna yield the canoe.
I mean, that is information that Deng has at this point. Tarnin still needs to make his way through the Garland fight to get home with that decent chunk of money that they just...
Yeah, but it's one of those things he's gonna definitely, Okay, he's gonna try and walk this back to Canaria, it looks like. Which, granted, okay, he should be fine now. That was the last danger square before Canaria.
But at least you now can afford those houses at that point, which gives your run so much more safety. Again, cheap houses today, so the housing market was relatively good.
And it looks like the black belt on Tarnin's side is going to be taking a bit of a dirt nap.
I mean, it does make sense. You already know that level 1 Fade, and I believe we had Fire 3 for Black Magic, once you class change. And as good as black belts are once you get the grind, with no trap tile shuffle on, you're really reliant on pretty much 3 grinds. The Agamas, the I, or the Blue D.
Yeah. So let's see here. Yeah, between those two spots, I think they found enough gold to be able to pick up the pro rings eventually. Of course, you've got to actually, you know, get to both locations without being turned into a statue garden, but it's doable.
Deng has already figured out the encounter rate at that point. You saw how he took that cabin right then? One more step, he would have gotten hit.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was doing that or just stopped short of the safe square next to Temple of Fiends, but either way, it guaranteed that, you know, he wouldn't have to worry about a fight coming off of a save if he has to reset. Oh, and hey, there's the ship. So, we are already free to sail the high seas.
You know what? With the TNT leading the canoe and the ship, a bunch of the world just became available. You got everything but 2 towns, and all of your incentive items except for the Keylock Marsh. It's really open at this point. It's going to be the play that really decides. Where do you go first? Do you go to Volcano? Do you go to Waterfall? Do you go check Earth 1? Do you go to the Ice Cave? I mean, they're all options at this point. And you can even still go to Ordeals too, so...
Yeah, I would wager at least one of these runners is going to make a play on either Ordeals or Waterfall. Probably both. Both as in both of those locations, not both as in both runners. One of them will probably stay on the southern continent for the moment, but I would be surprised if both of them opt to do that.
I think the big thing to note, though, is at this point, you really need money. With so many towns available at this point, and you want to try and potentially find that item shop item, you're going to need some cash to pick that up, and it's been a pretty lean seed for the most part.
I think you also want to track down the silver swords for sale. See if those are at an affordable price. Because you're gonna need 2 of them until you can start digging out better weapons.
As Dang checks the original Provoca location and finds Crescent Lake.
Now, in these flags, he's gonna have to go kill Lich and claim the Earth Orb in order to be able to make the check here. The sages are vanilla in that they will not give up their item until you've killed Lich. And lit the Earth Orb. The actual trigger, I believe, is lighting the Earth Orb. But, you gotta go through Lich to get there.
It's something to remember from the vanilla game. To talk to Sarda and get his item, you need to kill the vampire. To actually get, I believe the rubies in his chest, if I remember right. But for the sages, you definitely need to kill Lich first. Which was kind of frustrating when I was first, playing this game about 12 years ago.
Yeah. Now, Dang does find 3,000 gold silver swords in Crescent Lake, as well as a bunch of chest armor, so he's at least set for the early game in terms of gear now. At least on those 2 fighters.
I mean, silver swords are the best weapon you can buy for a fighter in this particular wealth setup, in the vanilla game as well. So, I believe they have 23 base damage and a decent hit rate, so they are good.
Yeah, I like to refer to the silver sword as the best weapon I wouldn't take to the end game. But yeah, basically Crescent Lake is a fighter's mall, it looks like. Dang, making an interesting call to head over to the Crescent Lake location before checking Elfland. Now, he did save at the inlet there, so I think what he's planning to do is see what Crescent Lake is, and if it's like Lefane or Melmond, check the shops if it's Melmond and then reset back so you can quickly go check Elfland.
I mean, I like the play. It is an information play completely first and foremost. And, if he gets through these runs, it's a great play.
Well, this is why you don't Dan that thief. So you can make plays like this when you can't just win the fight and get out. Of course, it doesn't help when these enemies have stun touch. Oh look, it's Lefane. And Dang is off to Elfland.
Oh, the pause for the Lufa-Lufa'd.
Well, he needed to... I'm assuming that was to take his notes real quick. Fresh. Excuse me.
But we also find that Bahamut is giving the prince a master's degree today. So it's the prince's graduation today, with the doctors being on vacation.
Is that the meme?
It's the one that I've been trying to promote.
I don't think it's going to take.
Well, they all are doctors, and how else do your black belts get higher degrees?
Training. But nah, it's one of those things that is at least going to make them finding the tail a lot more interesting. Because that ready access to class promotion is going to force the issue of whether or not you're going to bother leveling that black belt. Which, I mean, Tarnin already is kind of committed to not even bothering with the black belt.
Yeah, well, we do find out that Melmond is housing our lovely pirates today, that we have Provoca in Melmond today. Now we just have to fight command our way through these pirates.
Who fortunately do not seem to have rolled anything too bad out the gate. we still got at least 2 more rounds before we find out what they actually have on tap.
Well, the good news is we found both Saber and Bane at level 2 black. We found Invis 2 and level 2 white. We also found Cure 2. So again, more good knights.
Yes, fortunately, Demon Frog, I see you over there.
Does somebody not believe in the power of the ninja?
I'm thinking that's referring to the the pirates not having anything nasty on their script. But either way, Tarnin is through, and Dang shouldn't be too far behind. And Tarnin is immediately going to whip around and go check on this adamant. Yeah. It's one of those things, Shadow Walker. I do like having Saber on ninjas, just because if you get into a pinch and, you know, you're not going to have the power gauntlet on a ninja, it's at least, it's good insurance policy.
So we trade the rarest metal in the world for some rare jewels.
Now that's Sarda access, so I'm assuming we're going to see Tarnin follow up on that right now. Well, we'll eventually see Tarnin follow up on that as soon as he can get out of this fight.
I mean, that's kind of the theme today.
The Sahags with heal. And 8 party members. There we go! Enemies with group buffs in large formations may actually be the absolute worst thing. Like, at least most things have the courtesy to kill you, instead of dragging it out.
Indeed. As Tarnin's getting through an ogre fight right now, Dengwoo is trying to run away from some shadows, and, you know, this is one of those seeds where it seems like it's pointing you in a direction. Now, what do you want to see from Sarda? Personally, for me, at this point, I just want to see a ribbon. Just because, you know, that long quest chain, and then just seeing at the end of it, womp womp, at least you got Peasant Slot headpiece.
I want to see the tail, because I want to see what Dang will do when he gets the tail.
And we have the herb. So we went and raided Sarda's spice cabinet. We came back with some onion powder, some cumin, and we also found some decent...
Yeah, now, the thing, for folks who are unfamiliar with the NPC shuffle flag, we cannot turn that herb in until we find the Elf Doctor. Now, he could be in Melmond, but if he's not, that means that he swapped places with Bahamut, which means we cannot turn that herb in without an airship.
Indeed, indeed.
I believe at this point, if Melman's not at Onrak, then either way we can't turn that herb in without an airship.
You are correct in that, Woe. But yes,
Either way,
it looks
though,
like we have a hero run on 3, but Tarnin has now picked up his money out of the Triton's Trove and also gotten the agent. And I do believe we do have a hero run on 3 from the looks of it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like earlier. So, both of these runners likely take advantage of that once they start dungeon diving. So I think at this point, my prediction earlier about let's go investigate the whatchamacallit, the Waterfall Cave and Castle Ordeals is seeming increasingly likely from these two runners. I don't think, with what they found so far, either one of them is going to want to make that river voyage. You know, it's one thing to make that call when you have, you know, lit on the table, but when you don't, it's a little harder to make that decision to go ahead and, you know, go over to Ice Cave or Volcano when you either have to run or fight your way through every one of those big fights.
I mean, I agree. At this point, as much as I do love diving Volcano 2 in this situation, I am also under the opinion that I'd probably do in order Ordeals followed by Waterfall.
Yeah, so it looks like Deng is going to first head to Onrak, which with that urban hand and knowing as he does that the Elf Doctor is Bahamut or is somewhere that's not Elfland Castle, I don't hate this play. You go ahead and figure out if it's Melmond, and if you're willing to dip Ordeals, then Waterfall's basically the same table. Like you have a chance of seeing gas dragons, and that's pretty much the difference. If I had to guess, I think Deng is looking for armor to put on that thief and maybe the black belt.
At that point, you're gonna need bracelets at that point, and you just really have not seen anything outside of the golds, which were very expensive in Corneria. I believe they're around like 50 to 60.
Yeah, I think there were 50k. So Tarnin has now gotten that look at the King of Dragons tending to the Elf Prince, so our next stop is going to be either the Oasis or the Waterfall on Dengwoo's side.
I believe the other thing is we just have not seen the shop item yet, and neither runner has actually checked the caravan as well. We could have progression in the caravan.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, and I think Deng was thinking about making that check and then decided he'd rather go ahead and deal with Waterfall first, and then head back to look into the situation at the caravan if the robot doesn't offer something like an airship.
I mean, that also makes sense. You check 6 chests along the way, you'll probably end up having to take some fights, so with the low amount of gold, you also want to be stockpiled up, too.
So Tarnin's about to find out that we have Lefane handy. Now, I do think there is a chance that... Never mind. I was about to say Tarnin might opt to make that Volcano play, but he is not. We'll see where he decides to go once he gets down here between the two northern continents. Grigglypuff in chat making the observation that Dengwoo does not really have much money at this point after all of the stocking up he's done, so that may have factored into his decision to do Waterfall first. Go ahead and get a little more money in his pockets, that way if Caravan has the item, he doesn't have to go back.
Now, I was more confused why you didn't really take, even the Perilous fight. They typically have low health. With that physical party, you can chop them down decently. And we know that Wiz Mummies have, I believe, Squint.
Yeah, I think in Deng's mind, it's a situation where at level 4, this isn't a physical party. This is a group of lunatics, leaping into the jaws of death with cheap equipment.
So I was actually incorrect. It is the mummies that have Squint and Quad X. So, but does find a good chunk of gold and a pro ring in the chest. But resets out, even though you found the chime. And that makes sense with only one party member.
Yeah, he was not getting back across that spike tile, but now he knows that he has to come back to Waterfall eventually.
We have Tarnin making the Ordeals play, but we see some more people popping in. I see C-Node and Fractal Shatter, and Hangry Canuck. Yes, gentleman's agreement to this party comp. Dengwoo and Tarnin agreed to this party comp. In the case that you had a Force Black Belt as the first mate, they agreed to run a Thief in the Force slot, instead of doing their already agreed upon a double captain, double first mate.
Alright, Tarnin's starting to fish out the path through this pillar maze with both the pillars and, I believe, the encounters. And Dengwoo hot on his heels.
Now, the important thing to note is Tarnin does have more experience on the allied party members at this point, as the levels on Tarnin's crew is much higher. I think Tarnin has like level 6 and level 7 across.
I would say, yeah, probably level 6, going just by the HP values I'm seeing. But, you know, Tarnin has to be a jerk and menu super efficiently, so it's hard to say. And let that be a lesson to you runners. Slow down your menuing so we can see what's going on.
Only when you're playing me or Wota.
Hey, look, I have one eye, there's only so much I can do to keep up. But Tarnin is going ahead and picking a few fights here, which I don't hate. I love using Ordeals to pick up some early experience.
So we found a Silver Axe, we found the Game Clincher, the Bane Sword has been found. Great caster item, especially since it's the first one they found, and Instant Death Spell Bane being cast. We found an Iron Gauntlet, and a loose crystal at this point, inside Castle Ordeal.
Yeah, not all around, not bad. Dang's gonna go ahead and hang that Bane Sword on the Black Belt, presumably to give his Black Belt something to do until, around level 20-ish. Or at least level 10.
And Dengwoo has now found the best loot in the game.
Did you hear that sound cue? That was me refusing to acknowledge that pun.
I had a strong inkling as I was stifling a laugh, with the sheer irritation I could tell coming from your side.
Yeah. Chat noticing, Dang did take this dungeon much faster, but I would point out Dang was also running from everything. Whereas Tarnin did take a couple of fights in order to get a better feel for... in order to basically get some more experience hung on his party, so... I think that the time difference may wind up bouncing out. Also, the Zombie D is unrunnable, I just noticed, which may be a problem for Dengwoo right now.
Is he trying to Bane Sword the undead enemy?
I think the undead... is the undead immunity to Bane subject to the 3 and 256 rule? Chat seems to be saying it does, including crab cakes, so I'm gonna go with yeah. So that was some dang strats right there.
Yeah.
So here is the problem if you're Dengwoo. Yeah, that's the problem. You either have to get through that zombie dragon fight, or you're gonna need that crystal to not lead to anything. Or you're gonna go need to get some experience.
You just take levels at this point. You're level 4 and 5 making a dungeon dive. That is dang strats in a nutshell, I'll just put it that way. But we do see map strats from Tarn's side. That's some hype right now.
Hey, I mean, every good story begins with a map. So we should be seeing Tarnin make this, Actually, is Tarnin going to try and loop around to Metoya at this point? Because that looks like what Tarnin's doing.
I mean, I think it makes sense. You're trying to get to the port on the northern side, and the river system as well. Yeah, Tarnin immediately makes that map play to get to Metoya without leaving the outer sea. So, power to the map play.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, wait, is there a river near Metoya? And there sure is one, so... Yeah, no, That is a heads-up play right there, because he can turn around and head right back to Onrak if this doesn't turn into something he needs.
That is a fantastic find in Metoya's cave. Both the bottle from Metoya herself and the light axe, with 28 base damage and a caster item against undead, arm 2.
So I'd like to welcome everyone to the Axe Party.
Well, you did already find a loot. Now you found an axe. What's the next thing? A set of drums to go with this chime?
Or, I mean, you just hold on to the bottle, put a little bit of water into it. You know, just kind of get your hillbilly band going on.
Well, we did find the chime, so when we need more cowbell, we can at least go back to the waterfall cave robot.
But yeah, it's not very often that you see a party with 2 fighters, neither of which have a sword equipped. Yeah, dang, solely going for equipment here. It is one of those things, if he can find, like, a sun sword or something in here, or even just, like, 1 or 2 ice swords, that'll go a long way toward making it feasible to, you know, go make some of these plays he's been trying to make.
Personally, for right now, I would actually just rather find, like, a flame armor or an ice armor. Or something that just gives my fighters a big chunk of absorbs, just so you can take a lot of these fights and feel much...
Well, we do know where steel armor is, so that is also an option, if that's your plan. You know, it's not great for evade, but at these levels, you're not dodging anything anyway, so you know, if you can find the money for 2 sets of steel armor, that's just as good as finding the ice and the flame armor.
But yeah, these non-class change weapons at this point, the Masamune, the Sun Sword, the Ice Sword, light axes, stuff like that, huge finds. Does find a flame shield though. That is one of the best in slot shields for a fighter pre-promote.
Was that a flame shield? I thought it was an iron shield.
It was a flame
okay,
shield.
never mind. You're slightly ahead of me, so... But meanwhile, Tarnin finds the floater. So, we now know Dengwoo has to make that Ordeals play to get airborne. There is just no way out of it.
And at this point, we do know that the herb will also be one of those items that you need the floater for as well, so...
Yeah. So, it's a little bit unfortunate on Deng's part because he may go try his luck in Ice Cave before heading back to Ordeals.
I mean, writing-wise, that would make complete sense. I think Deng's going to finish with this volcano check, and you have 2 options at that point. You try and take as much EXP on your way out, then you save, and then you either go for the full dive of volcano, or you go up to ice.
Now, at this point, he's got a giant sword, a coral sword, and a silver sword. So, offensively, he's kind of got the tools to deal with carry. Like, it's not a great set of weapons, but it'll do. But like you were saying, he needs the defense at this point, I think. If he really wants to make that full dive. Because Carry gets a lot of hits, and those hits can hurt on this scaling.
Yeah, that is just, you know, the unfortunate part. But to answer question, Rending Havoc, yes, from the fairy, which the bottle was in Castle Ordeals along with the loose crystals. So one of our 3 potential items was found. We could have a 4th. They are rare. They're called a Starter Special, but I always like to put it out there because they do exist.
To be more exact, the Ordeals had the crystal which brought us the bottle. Loot was what was in the incentive chest.
Yes, because it had the best loot in the game. You are correct.
But either way, we know that Ordeals is the path that takes to the skies. And it looks like Tarnin has already decided that, trying to get through that waterfall cave right now is for the birds, so... And I don't blame him for this. He knows, he can come back later. He's about to have an airship, and... You know, there's a lot of world that he can go explore, at least a couple of incentive items he still needs to go ahead and recover, so... Meanwhile, Dengwoo is dang-stratting it up, making this dive into Volcano.
You know what? The man lives and dies by him, and I put money on this point. You can get it. You can get it done. He has enough heal potions. He can even take an Agma grind if they're soft.
Maybe. It is a dicey proposition, I think, at level 6, and I am the kind of person who would take this play under the right circumstances. I'm just not sure these are the right circumstances.
I do not believe he has a Wizard Staff because Wizard Staff, if I remember correctly, was inside the 6 chests of Waterfall.
It was. It was either the 2nd or 3rd chest from the left. Now, we do have a few chests on Dang's side to potentially find that progression. Now, swapping to the Dragon Sword, I don't hate that move, because at least you are encountering enemies that count as dragons in the volcano. You're not finding any sea life down here.
Well,
and if you are, then someone needs to check the flags.
The good news is, Tarnin has now found Melmond, which was hosting our Elfland Doctor. So, as soon as Tarnin gets his way back to the Elfland Castle, they can pick up that lease item.
Of course, the downside is, if we want to learn to speak Lefanish, it's going to be a bit of a hike. Because no one likes the walk to Bahamut's throne. Absolutely nobody. Oh, and look, Agamas are unrunnable. And there's Stun Touch!
But the Prince gives us the key, so you can immediately check all these keylock chests now for Tarnin's side.
And with that airship, that is going to be a very fast set of free chests, so... This'll be fun.
Deng reset out of Volcano is making a different play now. Has fully cleared out the entire volcano as Tarnin finds a loose slab inside of the key-locked dwarf cave.
Well, the bright side is that'll give him an excuse to go check the Cardia Islands and find some stuff there. The downside is, he's going to waste 70 years hiking to Bahamut's throne. I really don't like that walk.
Well, it's okay. At least it has the classic Metoya's cave theme, also known as the Mushroomery.
Oh, you mean the song we're not going to get to hear because we're not using Tarnin's audio?
No, but we can hear it right now on Dengwoo's side.
We're not going to hear Metoya's cave theme. We're going to hear the first, 3 bars, and then we're going to fight wizards. Man, I got absolutely nothing about that correct. I was hoping to at least be right about what the first encounter was.
It's quite alright. Again, the mummies are the dangerous ones right now with both Quadex and Squint, so...
Yeah, Deng does at least have a couple of pro rings, so... Quadex, less of a threat. Although Tarnin is probably about to pick up a few more pro rings.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tarnin is going full bore and getting all 4.
I mean, he's got the money. There's no reason not to.
Well, I don't believe we saw yet what is the actual item for the item shop, which at this point, we, by process of elimination, have found out that Elfland is in the Lufane location.
Yeah, and it's gonna be the Elfland item shop, so that's gonna be a fun little adventure. Probably not one that Tarnin is in any big rush to go on. But, go ahead.
We did find an ice armor and a katana at this point inside of the forest tile of Cardia. I don't think we had either runner, though, check the caravan location yet, though.
I thought Tarnin popped over there once he had the airship, but I may be mistaken on that. I mean, either way, after he's done checking Cardia, that's gonna probably be his next stop if he hasn't already been there.
But at least we got the power of lightning on our side. We found the Zeus gauntlet. Zeus has brought the juice, and now we have lightning too, for our use.
Yeah, that lightning 2 is going to be insanely valuable. If only because it's the party's only AoE at the moment. Now, I would point out that that does at least work out a little bit in Deng's favor, just in terms of the action economy. I know it's actually fairly popular to hang your casting items on your thief, but I actually don't like that necessarily, because if you get into a situation where you're not sure you're going to get turn order, I like being able to throw out a free AoE and be able to run away. But then again, I'm sitting here talking about this match and these two made the brackets, so what do I know?
Well, you know what? We finished about the same, because that's my exact same strategy, because that run button works some of the time, is my opinion on that button.
It works over 80% of the time if you bring a thief. Like, the tricky part with running with the thief is if you get a large group and they all go before the thief. Which is like I said, why I like to diversify a little bit have someone else throw the AoE while the thief tries to run. That way, worst case scenario, I at least maybe thin out the herd a little bit and don't take as much damage before I can get the runaway. But hey, there's a ribbon waiting it looked like Plains Cardia. So, that's nice to have. And it looks like Tarnin is opting to put it on the thief, I guess for defensive purposes, but yeah. So here's the Oasis play from Tarnin.
Indeed. Tarnin is immediately going to make a play, it looks like, toward the Lufane area, and also, which is in the Crescent Lake location. And we'll see exactly what is from the Lufanish. Lufanish give us our pretty crown. So the tiara, they hand over to the kindly old king.
I am not shocked, Demon Frog, that
Well, if you can run away from a fight, you won't die to it, so it makes sense.
Exactly.
But wizards with both sleep and glance, that is terrifying.
Sleep, glance, and hitting, like wizards are apt to do.
Dang wiped out of the ice cave. And those wizards are wizards. They're not fun again. As Tarnin is now checking the northwest castle, for the items there and finds Thor's hammer. We have find Mjolnir, and we're going to call down even more.
Well, Tarnin doesn't have the Zeus Gauntlet yet, so this is actually good for him. That was Deng who found a Zeus Gauntlet, right?
No, it was Tarn. It was in the Guardia Islands.
Okay. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so Tarn just has all of the lightning. And now is going to go ahead and check this Marsh location. So, I think someone in chat pointed out, yeah, it was Shadow Walker in chat pointing out Tarnin checking as many incentive locations as possible, so that he only needs to make one more trip back to Elfland.
Yep, if you can find your tail before you go to Elfland, it makes it a quick trip, because then you can just grab everything. But Deng finds his first caster item in the black shirt, and also, Old Reliable, the Sun Sword.
Yeah, no, that is a massive find on Deng's side.
Eyes are pretty squishy.
Yeah, eyes are extremely squishy. Unfortunately, that doesn't tell us anything about their script.
But at least we found the cube, so we popped into the Beholder's lair, we've interrupted a game of D&D, and we took his D6.
Tarnin goes ahead and checks the wizard chest. Doesn't appear to have suffered any consequences for sneaking a peek at the wizards. And yeah, Dengwoo looks to be setting up an eye grind. Well, not so much setting up an eye grind as just doing an eye grind.
Well, he's on his third eye grind at this point. Let's see how many more he wants to do.
I can't imagine not going ahead and taking this to 15. Level 15 is good enough to go through any dungeon you feel like, and at this point, Deng knows he has access to Sky. So if he's going to, attempt some massive plays to try and make up for all the time he lost, then 15 or 16 feels about right for that.
But we do find that the key incentivized item in Marsh Cave was the Oxy Ale.
Yeah, so at this point, Tarnin has access to Volcano and Sea, and Deng has access to Volcano and knows how to get into Mirage. So, because I don't think Tarnin made it to the end of Waterfall. I think he backed out after seeing what the mummies had down there.
Indeed, indeed. Tarnin checking the last check on the way out. Now, Tarnin did check the item on the way down in the median floor. So, one of the chests on the top floor, the left bottom room, the left chest in that room, is a linked chest to the bottom floor. The second to the bottom floor. And Tarnin only has 3 items remaining inside of the Marsh Cave at this point.
Yeah, and he'll probably back out of Marsh to save what he's got, and then go back in. Like, we haven't seen anything too bad out of this Marsh Cave, and some of that may be due to the levels Tarnin already has, but it's Marsh Cave, you don't take chances. Deng, meanwhile, still going ahead and fighting this eye, looks to be about level 13, and I think just made a quick XP check on his lead fighter. So, maybe thinking of just going to 14 if he's wanting to see how many more of these fights he's got to do.
I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know if he's setting up for a potential grind on his block. Because he does know this eye is fairly squishy at this point. Tarnin is making the dive into the volcano at this point, and is going to check every single chest on the way through. I do not think... Did we see the hairpin chest on Dengwoo's side? I think he just checked the free and then went toward armory side.
I thought he did, but... No, you're right. He checked the free chest, he checked armory, and I think he checked the double chest above armory, but I could be mistaken on that.
That's what I remembered as well, so... These are 3 checks that I do not think we've seen so far.
But yeah, Tarnin currently Deng decided to stop his grinding at level 14, which is still... That's still going to be good enough to check any dungeon you feel like at this point.
Runs into sleep wizards once again. Can he get away?
Well, his getawayer just got turned into stone, so no. Deng is... Oh no! Oh, that's bad. And that is unfortunate. That's another dungeon that Dengwoo has had to back out of. And he is back at level 7, I think.
He is.
So... And that's the risk you take doing the eye grind, is if you don't have a reliable way to get out of the dungeon, you can run to something like that. Chat suggesting that we may need to refresh, and I'm not actually sure that refreshing helped me any.
This would be a very frustrating seed at this point to run into, being denied out of every single dungeon that you've tried to go in.
Yeah. Yeah, those wizards wouldn't be so bad if they didn't have sleep as well as glance. Like, it's the combination of the two that really make them painful.
Yeah, that is the case, and the big way to fight this at this point, especially with no ribbons, is magic defense, which is level.
See, I have to think, almost at this point, you have to do a pop grind. Like, that might be Dengwoo's only real option, is turn off the tilt, go say, I need this experience, none of the dungeons are safe to get this experience in, I have got to just go get these levels from something.
I may have made the waterfowl play and just gotten to grab, like, Perilous. Force encounter for Perilous right outside the waterfall. Because Perilous give a decent chunk of the XP, and you know that they don't really hit that hard, nor they have anything that's too dangerous for.
Well, he may be going to go do just what you said. At the very least, he is heading over to Gaia. So he's not leaving the area quite yet. The path to the floater was a loose crystal in Ordeals leading to the bottle leading to the floater from the ferry.
Indeed, indeed. The ferry gave us flight today.
And Tarnin, I think Tarnin managed to avoid seeing what the wizards had during that marsh dive, so Tarnin finally getting a taste of it.
Yeah, if I remember, Tarnin just got in and first turn ran. It was a failed run followed by an actual run. But the wizards came in a 4-pack and did not pose in.
If I'm not mistaken, Deng is going back to Ordeals, which this is the play he needs to make. He doesn't know that he needs to get through Ordeals, but he needs to get through Ordeals. Whether or not he can is a different story. Actually, no, wait, he has the Sun Sword out of Volcano. He managed to dig that out, right?
Yes.
Wait, no, Sun Sword was in Volcano, it was in Ice Cave.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Sorry, Sun Sword was in Ice Cave top 3 before dropping down the hole to go to the. But I believe he's got a Silver Sword and I think a Coral and a. I think Asher is wielding a Flame Sword at this point.
Alright, then he probably can win the fights he needs. He can probably get to that zombie dragon fight, especially if he does a little more grinding out here.
Thunder Sarius.
Thunder Ambush Saria. I mean, the good news is
also cremate
that Dengwoo survived the Thunder, and his lead fighter survived the cremate.
So Deng is actually trying to take a good yielding EXP fight. Now these Sphinxes have high evade, so we have Thunder. Two.
Yeah. Shadow Walker in chat pointing out that among the flags we are using for the bracket is a bonus to XP once you have 15 key items. Arguably, though, that's a luxury that we don't have. If you don't have if you're Dengwoo. You need the experience on this party in order to progress the seed. And you can't get to 15 key items if you can't get key items, so. I think he took that to 10 and he's going in, so. I think he should be fine. Tarnin was either 7 or 8 or 9. when he did this, so Deng should be more than capable of getting out of here.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm concerned about right now is I believe the zombie Ds were unrunnable, and they were hitting decently hard.
Yeah, but you got a lot more HP than before, and you're swinging a fire sword. That's going to do some work. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the dragon sword. I think that was on Agama floor, so... That would also... No, wait, no. Zombie dragons count as undead, not dragons, so...
That's correct.
Never mind.
Which is why the flame sword is so effective against them.
But yeah, the flame sword I knew would do work, so we at least have that going for us in terms of Deng getting out of here. But I think even without that, he has the levels now to be able to break through them.
As Deng checks his music and is now going to fight the gatekeeper at this point. Gets two zombie Ds. He has to punch his way through this. They hit him for 80 damage on his lead fighter already. Another 80 damage coming. He's going with drink strats at this point. He needs to keep these fires alive. They're the ones doing damage. And he's going to have to swing in. The flame sword gets it done. 74. One down, one to go. Down to 50 HP. 110 from the flame sword. It's going to take one good more hit from that flame sword. Loses his top fighter. Flame sword for 50 damage. Not dead yet. Has one more round. Can he get it done? 2 hits, 76 damage. Gets through the zombie D. 2 light warriors remaining. He's got to make it back now with that.
Yeah, he'll be fine. At this point, he's just got to... He knows that he can go to on-rack and revive his party. So, I'll be surprised if that's not the play he makes. Tarnin, meanwhile, going ahead and doing a grind on the eye. Now, Tarnin's already at level 14, which is where Deng was getting to with the eye grind, so I'm not sure how far Tarnin's going to want to take this right now. I would guess probably 20 or 21 if you're going to take fights here.
I mean, this looks kind of like the grind that you're going to just try and set up for, like, endgame outside of, like, high-yield EXP fights in a Sky, potentially. Or, with so much lightning at your disposal, a Sea.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where... Alright, so yeah, Tarnin just won, I think it looked like maybe level 16. So, still not bad. Enough to where to where he'll be able to get through pretty much anything else in the game at this point, outside of Topher. And he's gonna definitely pick up more experience. Probably looking for a less turning you into stone dungeon to actually do this grinding in.
I agree. And I think at this point, with the Oxy on hand, C is probably likely to be on the list very shortly. I mean, you really have two schools of thought here. You could, oh my goodness, one step away from the exit.
Oh, they have nuke! Well, that's... How did we not see that? Oh, right, because they turned Dengwoo's party into stone on the second turn and not the third when they brought out nuke.
So, sleep, glance, and nuke!
Wow, wizards actually living up to their name. That's new and interesting.
And they went, They pushed
Okay.
the big red button.
I'm just gonna point out, that one extra level that Tarnin picked up on the eye is what saved him there. Because
Yeah, it did.
that gave him the extra experience, the extra HP he needed for that one fighter to survive and get away.
And the MDEV too. Oh my goodness. But
Well, the fighter had a ribbon on, so that also helped a lot.
that's true.
But, I mean, not with the nuke, you're right there. No, Tarnin got away.
Tarnin had one light warrior standing. Well, kneeling. Hurting. At like less... Yeah, I think it was around 10 HP or so?
11. But yeah. So, Tarnin, with the narrow escape from those wizards, gonna go get revenge on Waterfall now if I had to take a guess. Or maybe doing C and then getting revenge on Waterfall. We'll see.
So, Braxis Muse has already pointed out what I was thinking and tackling in the background with knowledge of these very, very, very dangerous wizards. They come back in Earth.
Yeah, they do, but, you know, you need the encounter table to just be super unfavorable for the wizards to actually be a threat in Earth. Like, the mummies are probably more likely to be an issue than the wizards.
Well, Deng is on their way to ATF, going to the Tiny Ferry to get his boarding pass to fly the Seven Seas.
So, rest in peace, Deng's table, when he sees that this was where the floater was. Yeah, because here's the thing. He had that bottle before Tarnin did. But that wipe on the zombie dragon, his decision to not go back in, that delayed him actually getting the thing from the ferry by, I'd say, a good 40 minutes.
Yeah, it really was around that amount of time. And it just really, like, that is the tale of this entire match, in my opinion. Dengwoo enters dungeon. Dengwoo clears the entire dungeon and then wipes seconds away from freedom.
Meanwhile, those pro rings doing some work against those quad X casts. I mean, also having over 300 HP, but even if Tarnin didn't, doing work. And here you go, you got your wish, Q. He is taking this perilous fight. Which, I mean, he actually has 2 sources of lit too, so this is a no-brainer.
I just really like Perilous, especially when they don't really have anything packing, because they're actually a decent chunk of EXP for a pretty squishy enemy. Especially for physical comps.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I've just find when I encounter big packs like that, they have the unfortunate habit of, oh wow, that's a lot of mummies and whiz mummies. So Platinum Golem, having just tuned in, yeah, the seed has not been very friendly. Part of that is because both runners agreed to run with the same party composition of 2 fighters, a thief, and a black belt. So their access to AoE was really limited, but also, every dungeon has had a couple of problem children among the enemies. That has been a big problem for Dengwoo, less so for Tarnin, because Tarnin immediately danned the black belt and went with 3-man strats, and so has a good bit more experience than Dengwoo has, and has been able to hold on to it because he's had more experience, whereas Dengwoo's had a few unfortunate run-ins with some of the enemies around. So, yeah, it's not been a very friendly seed. But both runners in the air now, so I expect we're going to see things pick up for both of them.
Indeed, indeed. Tarnin has gone to the waterfall cave, talked to the robot, and finally gotten more cowbell.
Isn't Squint Death Elemental too?
I'd have to to double check.
Because if so, then yeah, pro rings are the anti-mummy defense, and now they're just free experience.
Squint, I believe, is Death Elemental, and Glance is Earth Elemental, if I remember right.
I think Glance is non-elemental. And yeah, Shadow Walker confirm. Oh, Glance is time. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, Shadow Walker confirming in chat the it's Squint, Toxic, Rub, and Quad X that are Death Elemental. So, you know, things that you definitely like having those pro rings for, on top of the 8 absorb and minimal. Okay, never mind. It's Glare that Shadow Walker was thinking of. That's time. I think Glance is the non-elemental instant kill.
Yeah, you know, instant kill spells, they exist.
So for those of you who haven't watched Final Fantasy before and are wondering what on earth we're talking about, there are 8 elements in the game. The, standard 3, fire, lightning, and ice. Then you have earth, poison, death, time, and... which one am I forgetting?
Harm? Holy?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Status.
Say it again. Status. Oh yeah, status.
Yeah.
Duh.
So basically, every instant kill spell in the game that you can learn has an element associated with it, and most of the instant kill spells that the enemy and skills the enemies have an element associated with them. There is 1 or 2 that do not have an element, which means that ribbons are useless against them, because what ribbons do in this game is literally just give you resistance to every element. Alright, Glance is Poison Elemental. So yeah.
The reason I always think Glance is Earth is because I'm like, oh, it turns you to stone, so it's like a poison stone, kind of like your Brack is, so. But we do find a sword inside of Keylok Topher, and I'm sure that's going to light up soon. But we have a katana on Tarnin's side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate having the Vorpal, especially with 2 fighters, because only one of them can use the Sun Sword, so you need something for the other fighter to do.
All being said, it really doesn't matter until we find the tail at this point for either of those 2 swords, so...
Which we may find here. Tarnin is making a beeline to the item shop.
Well, you got the switch on at this point, as I believe Tarnin is now in go mode.
He is. He may not want to be in go mode because, yeah, he fast is ninja learnable. There are a lot of things that Tarnin is probably going to want. Oh, and
wall.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't know if Tarnin's going to go mode yet. Oh, also A-Rub. The poor man's wall.
No life, but Invis 2 at level 2, Fade at level 1, and Wall at level 3. I can't be complaining for night level learnable skill.
Yeah. And the fact that A-Rub is also handy, it's one of those things, you don't think of A-Rub necessarily as something that you'd want to immediately pick up, but it can be. And it looks like Dang has finally decided to Dan that black belt. I think I missed that before, but the fact that he threw out his 4th pro ring tells me that black belt ain't getting back up.
At this point, he's probably going to just try and pile everything into his Knights and his Thief. Now, it really is either a go mode situation or grab the tail. And I'm not going to say it right now, but I kind of say for this party, if you find the tail on your way, you really would like to, but it's...
I wouldn't. Not knowing that fast is on the table, and not having seen the power gauntlet. Now, Tarnin may prove me wrong, but I just can't see trying to get through the rest of this game with steel equivalent armor and a sun sword. And no magic. Or the power bonk. Like, this would have to be the paperiest of paper tophers to sit there and go, you know what, yeah, I'm just gonna take a fighter to 32 and call it good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Like, if it's a black belt, I could understand it, but you're going to be running a fighter strat at this point, and kind of want to grab every single chest along the way. I don't know how much out of the way I actually go at this point, though.
Yeah, I can't imagine Tarnin's going to go out of his way, but you can get a lot of chests if you just kind of go out of your way. Like a few detours here and there can pick up more chests than you'd think.
Well, we did find out that Astos carried our opal bracelet, which is what I thought it was, but because we didn't have any other key items on my list, I had to double check. But with only the opal bracelet, not even a second ribbon at this point, that's a big thing to worry about too. You've only got one ribbon.
Yeah, and you know that you can get wall if you class change, but that's a big if. See, this is a situation you don't want to be in.
I think this is one of the things I've continuously said. One of my first kind of senseis in the game, Elastoid, said, you may be in go mode, but you still have wants. And tail is a want, but not a need.
I would argue, though, with the fiend stats being set where they are, it's not a want, it's a need. You have to be able to actually hurt them, and as much as I am connected to the Sun Sword, that's not going to get the job done if any of the fiends rolled anything with any kind of absorb. Like, your choices are find the tail or grind to your 40s.
You can't even take a Topher grind either with this kind of party setup because we don't have access to warp. We don't have access to exit, even after class.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things. Tarnin, I could see maybe deciding that the grind is faster than trying to dig out the tail from wherever it's landed, but yeah, like, I think at this point you have to just kind of go, I have the gear I need to finish this seed if I find the tail. And yeah, you take it from there. And yeah, Z-Man, they both agreed to take this party.
It's a tough ask at this point, and I just think that Tarnin's going to grab chests in more lucrative locations at the...
Well, he still has Sky Tower, he still has Sky, and in an absolute pinch, there's mermaids. Like, I'm certain that if he continues digging, mermaids will be the absolute last place he digs. But it is on the table.
Yeah, that's definitely still there. But yeah, I'd probably say that in order of chest density, you go Sky followed by Sea, full clear, and then you wrap up what you have left.
But yeah, to answer the question, chat, draft me, the top thing says the black belt was required. Yes, both players, you will see, have a black belt. Now, the black belt, you know, he's had a long day, it's Saturday, it's his day off. So he's, you know, taking a nap while they run the seed, but he is there. They did take a black belt. Yeah.
But during this time, Dengwoo is going to check the key lock chest, and Tarnin is going to take care of the dry cleaning. The Light Axe hit, 174, a Coral Sword hit for about 3, and a Sun Sword hit for about, I believe that was 100-ish. So, I mean, the dry cleaning is getting patted done, and we just had to knock out the rest of the dust in round 2.
But yeah, so at this stage of things, Tarnin, oh, he can now go check the sages. I forgot that we hadn't actually lit an Earth Orb yet, and that is our first orb at about an hour, 17 minutes.
That is the flag that we always keep forgetting, but we find out that they have a ribbon, which is a great find, but it's not the tail, which is the other thing it could have been.
Yeah, now chat pointed something out, too. Tarnin skipped the top floor of Marsh. So, if Deng checks those chests and it turns out Tail's there, that could give him an opening to actually catch back up.
Well, you know what they say, it's not over until Chaos is dead, so...
You calling Chaos fat?
No. I'm calling Chaos always has nuclear nuke.
So you're calling Chaos a wizard?
Yep, indeed, and you are the groundskeeper of Hogwarts.
And Deng also skipping the top floor of Marsh, so... I'm gonna go ahead and say now that those top chests were the Power Bonk, the Mazza, and the Tail.
The 3 most lucrative items to find at this point, I agree. Well, maybe the Defense Sword as well. I'm gonna say Power Bonk, Defense Sword, and Tail.
Well, either way, Deng is now going to see that he also wants the tail, and is going to at least find his vendor item at long last. Now that second ribbon does at least make a non-class change Topher dive slightly more survivable. Slightly.
It's good against AoE clear spells. In the face. Well, the Zombies had lit too. That's, interesting to find.
Oh! Unrunnable R Ankylos. Or Ankylos. Yeah, I'd reset out of that too. R Ankylos are just the worst. They're almost always impossible to kill, and they give absolute garbage for XP, and they usually hit like trucks. It's just... it is such a waste of your time.
It's quite literally a thorn, or a spike in your side.
Alright, so we're gonna see what Dengwoo does. He's got his rod now, so... he at least has almost as much access as Tarnin does? I think he still needs to go back and get that chime. He hasn't gone back to Waterfill yet, so he still needs that chime, right?
Still needs a chime, still needs a cube.
Alright, so yeah. He is going to go ahead and go deal with Lich. Okay, he's first going to crash his airship into the swamp, and then he's going to go deal with Lich.
But the thing is, Dengwoo actually does know that the chime and the cube. He knows where they are. He's actually seen them before, so...
yeah, he does at least have the knowledge. But I think he's in a similar boat to Tarnin, where he knows what he knows where go mode is, but is he ready to go?
Answer a question in chat. Slow Catman, why are there 2 chaoses? Because this is a best of 3. This is a 1-1 rubber match. The winner moves on. The loser is ending the tournament.
The loser comes to hang out with me and Q on Crescent Lake.
Hey, at least the old men brought some nice bottle and the loot.
Look, the old men know how to party. Why do you think they're confused all the time?
Dang,
but there is a
defense.
defense sword.
That's a huge find in Earth 1. Earth 1 holding the defense sword? That is a massive find.
Meanwhile, this dragon's showing its teeth to Tarnin, but he manages to get out of it and has plenty of heals to patch up before heading back. No, Tarnin skipped Earth 1 and the 3 lower chests on Earth 2, and I think the chest no one likes on Earth 3.
I believe total of... I think Tarnin also did check Earth chests on Earth 3, so a total of... Quote me on this one. Let's see, there's 8 on Earth 4 plus 3 plus 3. So, there you go. Math on Twitch, 14 chests. 14 checks.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Like, I think he did check the lower right-hand chest on Earth 3, and then the 2 that are just off the path to Vampire. Either way, he has pulled Carrie. And we're gonna see how this goes. The answer is it should go fine. He's got the levels now to where Carrie shouldn't pose much of a threat.
You kind of have to just punch your way through it, and Carrie's actually been pretty absorptive at this point. Those 70 damage from a light axe is kind of worrying to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to take a few rounds, but Carrie hasn't shown anything for Tarnin to worry about yet.
Well, Carrie did look like she skipped arm day, but goes down after a couple rounds against this beefcake physical.
Meanwhile, Deng has made it to the last 3 chests on Earth 2 that we haven't seen. And it's money and a wear sword. So, money and inconvenient money. So, the chest no one likes is the only one left. And, you know, if that doesn't have the tail in it, then I'd say, while the defense is definitely something Tarnin will miss, it's not the end of the world that he skipped it.
No, I agree with you on that one. It's rough, but I tend to prefer the white shirt over the defense if I'm not going to class change anyways. Defense is nice if you only want to protect the one party member, like a black belt, but in this case you're pretty much going to be using a mixed party comp of the thief and the double fighter.
Yeah, I think there's still a place for the defense in making your tank a little bit tankier. Because in a situation like this, once you start getting to the beefy endgame fights, you're looking at a situation where you know, probably need to shelter... You're probably going to move that black belt up to slot 2. Oh, look, there's another sword we can't use because we can't find the tail.
But the good news is they actually did find an ice sword. An ice sword's always nice. That's going to, you know, replace your light axe at this point.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, it's one of those things, you put that black belt in the second slot, you defense up your first slot fighter, you can take a lot of punishment like that. But yeah, I personally like having the white shirt over the defense if I have to pick one, but I also tend to use a lot of mixed unit tactics. And that is a silver bracelet in the chest no one likes, so Tarnin not really disadvantaged by skipping chests in Earth Cave. And probably, well, he might opt to skip the chests on Sky 2. Unless he's looking to take a lot more levels, which Judging by the fights he's taking so far, he might be.
Indeed, indeed. Unfortunately, the rest of the checks here from Dengwoo. Now, Dengwoo is being thorough at this point and getting a full clear of places not to orphan chest. You know, it's just the thing that we have to keep thinking back to. Is it in Marsh? Is it in the rest of these particular chests in Sky? Who really can find the tail at this point? It could also be in C.
Yeah, it's one of those things where whoever finds the tail first, might actually have a little bit of an edge over their opponent, just because you're in a situation where, oh, unrunnable vampires, that's nice. Sorry, I'm finishing my thought. You're in a situation where not having the tail means you're grinding. There's just no question there. You're going to need a lot of levels to make those weapons that you can equip viable. And I think that's part of the reason Tarnin is taking as many fights as he is, going up through Sky. Because if he doesn't find the tail, that will give him a head start on getting to the level where you can take a fighter with a Sun Sword and no other buffs, and actually survive your trip down Topher. Also, something has fast in this Mummy-Whiz-Mummy formation. I didn't quite catch which it was. But that is obnoxious. But yeah, so Deng is going to continue this dig through Earth Cave, and we know that he's not going to find what he wants. And in the meantime, Tarnin is just about to the greater than, less than room, taking every single fight that he can along the way, which I like. I like taking fights in Sky, because almost every fight here is worth the trouble if you have the means to clear it. Which, by this point, he does. Between the Bane Sword and his two Lightning 2 weapons, that is something that's going to come in super handy.
Yeah, I love taking any sort of fight in the Sky floors. The EXP is great. You can check all these chests along the way, and I'm completely in the same boat as you there, Woad, on that one. Since really, what were we trying to find at this point? Kind of the power bunk, the tail, maybe a Masamune, a white shirt. There's a lot of good things you can still find on the table right now.
Yeah. Of course, the problem is those good things could also still be in C, and all you're doing is getting experience, which it's not the end of the world. Alright, so I think we'll get a good idea of where Tarnin's head is based on how he plays this floor. If he skips that one chest down at the bottom, then he probably has a plan for getting through Topher. If he checks every chest here, then he is definitely in the I need the tail mode.
That is a good idea on that one. Although it's typically I will still check the bottom floor, even when I'm just looking for levels. It's more of floor 2 is kind of the decider for me.
See, I could see him skipping floor 2 even if he is wanting the tail, just because it's such a massive time sink, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get anything out of it. Like, I might go back and check it after checking the 3rd floor just in case the tail's there, but, yeah, it's just one of those things, unless he just wants every drop of experience he can squeeze out of this dungeon, I just can't see him, like, checking Sky 2 before Sky 3.
I also agree with Shadow Walker on this one. You don't check floor 2 before you check floor 3.
Yeah, we do find that 3rd ribbon, though. So, at this point, Shadow Walker... Not Shadow Walker, Shadow Walker's in chat. Tarnin has everything he needs in terms of, like, magical defense, or everything he could have in terms of magical defense. And Dengwoo, unless Tail is in C and Dang goes there first, going to be in the same boat.
Question in chat, why are they running with the same party count with no red mage? This was agreed upon ahead of time by Tarnin and Dengwoo.
Yeah. So, that is also the reason... The black belt was forced by the seed, and that's the reason they also have an unconscious black belt being dragged around by the other 3. It's a good workout. You know, helps build up a little bit of leg muscle. And Tarnin is skipping that bottom chest, it looks like. And Dang is going to go check C, so this could be a big play for him if Tail is somewhere in C and Dang gets a hold of it first. Okay, this is interesting.
Dang is going full mermaid side.
Though I'm looking at Tarnin. Tarnin is opting for the... and throwing out the Zeus Gauntlet for the white shirt, so that's one item that Tarnin wanted. But yeah, skip the south chest on Sky 1 and is checking chests on Sky 2. That is... I'm wondering if he saw something he didn't like out of one of the encounters on Sky 1.
I think he got ambushed by the badman.
That would do it.
I don't really see anything else.
That would do it for me. The badmen are one of those fights that, if you can clear them out, are great to take, but if you don't have an easy way to clear them out, can very easily wipe you.
Well, they do show up in up to packs of 9, and they normally hit really hard.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I can see him deciding, I am done checking chests on this floor, we're going to go up where the bad man can't hurt me. And we do also have Gurmedusas up here, so that is probably another good reason to do this. So I think Tarnin is probably hedging his bets at this point. He's still going to look for the tail, but on the off chance he misses it somewhere, getting the levels he needs to where if he doesn't get the tail, he can still get through Temple of Fiends.
So I want to make a quick addendum to my earlier claim that Dengwoo was going full mermaid side. Dengwoo is just checking the first 2 chests and then immediately going Kraken side.
Well, again, this makes sense. Kraken side is a lot faster to full clear, and if you find what you're looking for, then you don't have to go mermaid side. So he will almost certainly check mermaid side if he doesn't find what he's looking for down here.
Definitely consider dropping those 2 opal gauntlets at this point for a potential opal shield, but you know,
well, he's already got Aegis and opal, so he doesn't need the second opal shield.
Yeah, that's right. Aegis was in the dwarf cave, so
yeah, and that's what he was looking at there. I think he was making sure he didn't need to drop something for another opal shield. But nothing on Sky 2 except experience, but Tarnin did get a decent amount of that, so...
well, the important thing is we have more chests to check at this point. We have a total of, I believe, 13 chests on this floor. And then Dengwoo is on the other side checking the last floor before Kraken, which has a decent chunk of chests on it.
Yeah, Shadow Walker correcting me, there was the white shirt on Sky too, so it wasn't a complete waste of time.
So at this point...
And there's the power bonk. So, white shirt power bonk. I can see Tarnin deciding that he doesn't need the tail at this point.
That is a huge find. At this point, that is your descriptor of, should I just start going? You have your on-demand saber, you have Invis 2 on a white shirt, and you have and Dengwoo has a defense sword.
Yeah, Tarnin is not getting the defense sword. Not unless he forgets a chest somewhere, but at this point, I think he just picks up a few more levels if he doesn't find the tail in these next 8 chests. And yeah, to answer the question, chat, he has a sun sword. And so, a sun sword, and I think an ice sword is his next best weapon.
You are correct.
So
sun and ice, and also a mage staff now. I mean, that's useful if you run into some metal slimes on early floors in Topher or on the Bridge of Destiny. Speaking of Bridge of Destiny, chat, we are rapidly approaching the Bridge of Destiny, so if you want to see our robot overlord, get your bless RNGs in chat, or get your comments with Mr. Destructoid to read inputs for our ED 209.
Alright, so Tarnin, I think Tarnin's committing to the no-tail play. And that's an unrunnable Warbeck.
Unrunnable, hugging servos, initiated. And it's absorptive, too. That was 2 hits for 21 damage.
He does have the white shirt on one of these characters, right? He didn't leave it on that unconscious black belt, right?
I'm pretty sure he left it on the unconscious black belt.
Well, good thing he's got that power bonk.
You have the power bonk at this point, so it's power bonk and pray that your top knight absorbs all the damage for a groove.
Fortunately, this is a very spell-heavy war mech, and they're all elemental moves, so... the bad news is that means that there's a lot of non-elemental garbage that is in Temple of Fiends. And one less ink.
Sun Sword. So
now,
the servos have been initiated for speed today, so we have a speed mech.
Now, here's something else to take into consideration. If Deng doesn't find the tail here, and, like, tail was located in those 4 chests on Sky 3 that Tarnin skipped, he's gonna be, like, level 17 and with a chance of hitting this unrunnable war mech fight. Oh, hey, there's Nuke.
Big red button hit. Initiating solution to intruder problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the hold A and pray phase of the war mech fight, and... Oh, he gets through it!
2!
And fight!
2!
Fight! Picks up 3 levels with 2 HP left. So that is now 2 fights that Tarnin has gotten out of by the skin of his teeth.
11 HP, followed by 2 HP. Warbeck hits the big red button. 1 fighter takes all the experience from that scrap. Now the question is, do we have a second one?
So, yeah, here's the other thing. I feel like Tarnin at this point is having the more Dengwoo run.
Speaking of Dengwoo, Dengwoo has gotten all the way to Kraken.
Yeah, and I did not see a tail pickup on his side, nor did I hear the tail pickup music, so... That tail is either hanging with the ladies, or was just north of Tarnin, and he just skipped it. Yeah, Braxis, at this point, I think that we're just going to be slightly behind on comms. Like, this has been a perennial problem throughout this match, and I don't think we're fixing it at this point.
But, Kraken didn't skip leg day. 10 hits for over 400 damage to his first fighter. But he does get defense sword cast out. Again, Dengwoo has the defense sword. Tarnin has the white shirt. That is the important thing to know. Bane sword, ineffective. Another Thor hammer, another Bane sword. Bane sword, poison smoke, terminated. We have a dead Kraken on Dengwoo's side.
So, Tarnin having as many potions as he has, I think maybe just, at this point, taking some extra fights on the Bridge of Destiny.
I mean, it makes sense, especially if you get some lucrative fights like these Red Hydras, that really don't seem to be doing much to him.
Yeah, no, I don't hate this play at all. And, again, if Tarnin doesn't pick up the tail, he's gonna want some heavy levels on at least one character.
Now here's the question. On Tarnin's side, you still need a final answer to Tiamat. Do you go Bane strats? Do you go Powerbomb strats in this case?
I think you feel out how Tiamat's looking. If it looks like she's gonna give you the time to bonk up, you bonk up. Because you can end that fight and, like... While statistically I think it's a 1 in 4 shot to land the Bane sword, that's 2 turns of bonking, tear loose, and you probably take down that Tiamat anyway.
Tiamat swinging. It's done about 100 damage to the fighter so far, as he's going to continue to power bonk up. He's going to fight in now and see how much damage he does. 382 damage. He's going to have to and pray his way through this at this point. 180. So he's about 500 in, 600 in at this point. Tiamat is down to half health on his fighter. Another 200 in. Another 400. A good crit there. Another 200 coming in. Another critical hit. So now we are standing at the point where Tiamat's got to be on one head. Swings in. Kills Tiamat. Tarnin has completed.
And picks up level 28 on fight, so... Yeah, I think that Tarnin is starting to get to a point where he would be comfortable attacking this Topher, and very wisely healing up before advancing a step.
If I remember right, there are actually... This is the exception. As Sky, there are no encounters in that room.
Yeah, someone more knowledgeable is going to have to fact check you on that one, because I certainly couldn't tell you. I think I have seen fights after Tia, though, so... I mean, either way, this is not the time to be, you know, guessing. And chat is affirming that they have seen Warmech fights after Tiamat, so... In any case, Tarnin picks up his party and just has water to go. So, based on what we were seeing, I don't think we're going to see Tarnin make that mermaid play either. And picking up the black belt. Wondering if he maybe wants to have some experience on the black belt for Topher to eat hits for the other party members. Either that, or Tarnin is about to do the most insane black belt grind we've ever seen.
If Tarnin makes a black belt grind at this point, that is a play.
He's not! That would be insane. That would be the most ridiculous thing that anyone could ever imagine doing. But this entire seed has been insanity, so what's one more bit of crazy?
This seed seems like a standard seed I rolled. Oh wait,
So Tarnin resetting out of the Vorpal. Sorry, Vorpal fans.
Again, no tail.
Oh yeah, no, he wasn't going to keep the Vorpal. He already has an X-Scal and a Katana and a Sun Sword.
But Tarnin knows where it's at, so if Tarnin does find the tail on the way, they can always go back and get it if they really want it.
Yeah, I just can't imagine he's gonna find it, because I can't imagine him checking mermaids when Dengwoo didn't. Yeah, Weasel, the tail is loose the tail is loose. There's about 5 chests we didn't see in Sky that could have it. And the entire mermaid side of Sea where it could be. And I think that actually is it. I think Dengwoo checked all the chests that Tarnin skipped otherwise. No, wait, there are 3 chests in Marsh.
3 chests in Marsh, yes. Those are the other ones. Because I'm pretty sure that Tarnin has already checked Corneria Castle as well. In fact, I'm darn certain on that one. So it's Mermaid side, 5 chests, the top in floor 3 and the bottom in floor 1 of Sky, and 3 chests in Marsh.
And I don't believe the loose tail can be in Topher. I think it's treated like every other key item in that it cannot be locked behind lighting all the orbs.
Especially in this case, with this party comp, the tail would be essentially locking itself.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the reason that it's included in that can't be in Temple of Fiends Revisited pool, is because it conceivably can cut off access to warp, which means you can't actually get it out.
I already see in chat, where do you think the tail is at this point, chat? I already see somebody posting out my favorite chest in the game. Well, the second favorite is. My favorite chest in the game is obviously Hairpin, followed by TFC, but I don't think we're...
See, I'm actually partial at this point to the chest north of TFC. Because, like, TFC, that's the troll you expect. The chest north of TFC, that's the troll that you hate.
It's not the chest that, you expect, but it's the chest that you deserve.
I mean, here's the thing, Hypes, is if we don't see the tail from either runner, whoever wins, we're going to go back into the seed and find it. Like, while we're talking to them and waiting for the other runner to finish. Like, it's not the nice thing to do, but it's the thing I'm going to do.
You, my friend, are the perfect partner today, and
Okay, if nothing else, we're making whoever wins go back and check those 3 Marsh chests.
I am
Like,
okay with this solution.
There was no reason for either of them to skip those Marsh chests. They literally just did it because they felt behind.
That is definitely true at this point. I mean, you're almost 2 hours in at this point. If you don't feel behind, there's a problem, in my opinion, with how fast and how deep this competition. Oh goodness. Somebody from chat pointing out, Dang doesn't have the cube.
Well, he He and Will be signing cubes after the show, everyone.
Yeah, that's... If he's checking less than greater than... If he goes up to floor 3, he's forgotten that he actually wiped out of ice.
There's no way he'd be making this check without having gotten the cube. And he died so close to the exit, I can easily see him forgetting that he didn't actually finish ice.
A reminder for people in chat. Dengwoo wiped out of ice. Tarnin ran into a wizard fight 1 step away from exiting. Wizards had sleep, they had also glance, and nuke.
Okay, yeah, Dang remembered that he doesn't have the cube, so that was basically a, let's go ahead and check these chests for information and then go get...
So if there are 2 key numbers to remind yourself tonight, Tarnin, 11 and 2. If it's any value above 0, that Light Warrior survives. And those are the 2 numbers that saved Tarnin tonight so far. 11 and 2.
I might have to go back and watch the VOD, but I think it was fight in both cases that had actually made that survival, too.
I am darn certain at the same time.
So yeah, fight having come through huge for Tarnin the Seed. But yeah.
So Dengwoo, on his way to grab his D6 from the eye. Tarnin on the floor of the Kraken. Kraken did not skip leg day. Kraken whacked Dengwoo's party already tonight. 10 hits, 400 damage. Will Tarnin run into the same luck? Will Kraken put down the legendary fight tonight?
No. No, he's got way too much HP at this point. And I think Tarnin might be rocking a little bit better equipment from having dug out air first.
I believe it is a flame armor and I believe a flame shield on that primary knight along with a pro ring and a ribbon. Sorry, not a pro ring, a power bonk and a ribbon. So some decent absorb. Dengwoo pulls the eye, Tarnin on the way to pull Kraken.
Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind is Tarnin has a white shirt. So it's one of those things, in theory, he can avoid some trouble.
As we pull the final of the 4 fiends from Tarnin, Dengwoo moving through the ice cave, white shirt coming out from his thief. Power bonk from the fighter, Bane sword comes through, ineffective. All still standing, that's important to note. But using both instant death strats and buff strats at this point, slow is ineffective against all 3 light warriors. More white shirts, 2 stacks of evasion at this point. Bane sword, again, ineffective. Going with similar strategies, again, Bane sword, ineffective. 6 hits for 179 from Kraken. The white shirt's evasion coming through. Swings in for 86 damage with that sun sword. Gonna need some more bonking at this point.
Yeah. These mixed strategies are basically his best shot for getting through this fight. That being said, I think that he may be a little bit unhappy with the... there's the kill.
Poison smoke terminated. Chaos dies.
Bane, not Brack. same element, slightly different accuracy. So, at this point, Tarnin has all 4 orbs lit. And has a decision to make. Do I take what I've got and, fight my way through this Topher? Or do I keep digging? And I have a sneaking suspicion he is going to attempt Topher.
Tarnin is actually on their way to go check mermaids.
Okay, well, this wouldn't be the first time that a runner's made a liar out of me. Won't be the last time a runner's made a liar out of me. So, let's see where that tail is. Because Deng is likely to check the chests Tarnin skipped. Yeah, Tarnin found the bonk in
Sky.
the 6th chest room in Sky 3. Yeah, I think, now that I'm thinking about it, from Tarnin's perspective, he knows that if Deng's doing anything different from him, it's going to be skipping stuff like this. So he may... Yeah. So it may be Tarnin sitting here thinking, I can make these checks and maybe slip past Dengwoo.
So only 2 chests on the mermaid's path that he has skipped, but Tarnin's going to grab every last chest, and it looks like we found the Masamune. The big find in the mermaid's chest, the Masamune has been found.
Alright, so that's another piece of the, you know what, we're just going to deal with Topher. I think he's still going to finish checking here, because if he misses the tail and it was on this floor, he's going to kick himself.
Yeah, the magic is actually really, really nice. Now, you don't really have that many charges again, because you're going to need to get levels on those knights and those ninjas. But Fast at level 4 and Fade at level 1, along with Invis 2 at level 2, there's some good stuff. Now, the white shirt's going to, provide what you need for the Invis 2 cast for the most part, but...
Yeah,
You're in the area anyway. You've got Dragon Armor, Opal Armor, and Opal Shields, along with an Aegis Shield. You can really tank up by just turning in the trip back with the tail found in Mermaid.
Last chest. Okay, so Tarnin is in go mode. He is going to go turn in this tail of the Elfland Castle, gear his party up, maybe buy spells? No, he's not. He's not going to take the time to go back to Lefane and get that fast.
No.
Not with the gear he has.
He class changes in Elfland Castle because that's where Bahamut is today, and goes straight to grabbing any sort of last-minute heal potions, probably grabs Fate on his knights, and goes in.
Yeah, that's the play I can see him making. Like, the only reason to pick up fast is if he, makes an attempt on Topher and discovers that it is just filled with brick walls. Platinum Golem in chat making a very astute observation. The go mode item seems to always be in the last place you look, and I forgot that Onrak was at Elfland, so that's a fast turn in.
You mean, Bahamut?
No, in Elfland. Elfland Castle's right next to Elfland.
Yeah. It's a 2-step turn in, so yeah, that is the convenience about that.
And yeah, Tarnin going ahead and arranging his gear. And yeah, he will buy potions, buy what other healing items he might want, and then we will see a Topher die. Yeah, Giraffe Me. This is a flag that was introduced for the bracket round. Objective NPC Shuffle. It allows for Dr. Un, the Elf Doctor, and Bahamut to take each other's places, as they are the three NPCs that do not give you an item, but instead just set a flag.
But Tarnin is our first runner to enter Topher at 2 hours, 1 minute, and 58 seconds. Thanks again to Danny on our tracking duties tonight. Danny's been doing a fantastic job on the back end, keeping both Wotan on our toes. And big thanks again to the Speed Gaming family of networks for hosting our tournament this year. Tonight, in this rubber match between Tarnin and Dengwoo, the winner moves on, the loser goes home.
I'll also answer the question, Chad, of what Bahamut is a doctor of. He's clearly got a PhD in education.
Yep, that's why he gives our black belts their master's degrees.
See, there's the joke we needed for that. That's a much better meme. Alright. So, we are having a little bit of a connection issue on Tarnin's side, but we'll get him back here in a minute. It looks like he's taking this fight with the Chimeras and Chimeras. And the Gurmedusas. Never mind. I think he ran away. I can't tell anymore, this is a slideshow. But he is on Earth floor already.
Now, we didn't see anything nasty from our unofficial mascot for the tournament, the Green Medusas. But will the second trip down to the dry cleaner, Lich 2, provide any sort of speed bump for Tarnin?
I'm still resenting that you didn't see that nuke out of Lich 1 in our match week 1, by the way.
You know what? I accept it. Because it really wasn't fair, and I apologize.
I guess I forgive you. Anyway, during that brief, very special episode, Tarnin kills Lich 2. So the answer was, Lich 2 was not an obstacle today.
Nope, more dry cleaning. You have to keep cleaning this purple road, man. It takes all stains.
Okay, Shadow Walker. We have 3 ribbons. Lit 2 doesn't count as a spell. It counts as an inconvenience.
And one of our
Not
knights
even
is almost level
inconvenient.
30. That's a lot of MDEP too. It tickles. It's a massage therapy. That's what it is. It's electrocution therapy.
I mean, with resistance, everyone is saving against Lit 2. And these unrunnable fights are just continuing to hand Tarnin more experience.
Triple Agamas. I mean, that is some good XP. You know, almost 4K. Thief is level 27.
So now let's see what Carrie has in store. Our fighters are hilariously well armored, but our thief is even well armored enough to just tank 5 hits.
Yeah, 5 hits from Carrie, not a big issue. You know, 47 damage from that first swing of the, I believe that was a Sun Sword. Not much. Again, Masamune on that knight with the Power Bonk, 540. 540 damage, 98 damage from the Sun Sword. More white shirts coming in. Carrie is at about 600 to 700 damage in. Carrie is going to be rolling a bit more than that today. 74 damage, another swing from Tarnin's knight, and death goes to Carrie.
Yeah, this is... with the levels we have and the weapons we're wielding on Tarnin's side, Lich 2 is... or not Lich 2, Kraken 2 and Tia 2 and Chaos can still threaten, but they're going to need to probably be breaking out the nukes and the nuclears to really slow Tarnin down at this point. And Shadow Walker pointing out that is the X-Cal, not the Sun Sword. Which,
I do apologize.
I would point out that they look very similar because they're both awesome.
They're the same model, but they have a slightly different color palette. That is my fault.
Yeah, I think the Sun Sword is a slightly more vivid orange, while the X-Cal is more of a, dark peach.
Indeed. Bane Sword coming through, ineffective against Kraken 2. He's going for more Power Gauntlet, more white shirts. Same strategy going around the table. 4 hits for 156. Zap goes through, ineffective against these ribbons. These power bunks are going in at this point. I would probably start swinging at this point. I think we have at least 3 stacks at this point of both evasion and power bunk. Swings in with the Masamune, does 4 hits for 148, and another swing from the katana, and Kraken is now terminated. As we're going to see the team-up fight from Tarnin's side. More white shirts, more power bonks, going to continue the same strategy. 3 hits for 239 damage, 3 hits for, I think that was 100-ish, and
124 out of the X-Cal.
But Thunder from Tiamat, ineffective against these ribbons, but again, starting to chip into these Light Warriors' health.
Tarn is still packing more than enough heals to handle the damage, so he will be fine going into Chaos.
Again, just more elemental damage coming through. These ribbons are proving their butter tonight. Just absorbing all of them. But more swings. Ineffective damage against anything but that Masamune wielding knight with a couple of stacks of power bombs.
Yeah, but you know what they say about chip damage?
Hey, it all adds up at the end of the day.
Exactly. Doesn't matter how you get the enemy to 0 HP as long as they're dead.
But Tarnin, on their way through. We know that the Wiz Vampires still show up here. And they are particularly nasty. I believe they had a glare today. These rock golds, not much of an issue. More EXP for his Light Warriors as he's trying to make his way to the floor of the final. Tarnin making their way to the final fiend. Dengwoo checking these chests again, looking for a tail. Tarnin is the first person to pull Chaos at 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 30 seconds in. White shirts, power bunks, and Chaos. I don't think that was above 100 damage. So it's going to need some power bunks at this point. Does Chaos provide anything in the actual table that's going to pose a threat? We still have nuclears in the table. We still have Cure 4. We have a big swing in Chaos. Chaos did not skip arm day. 1 knee immediately to that first. Oh goodness, this Chaos is bringing the heat today with Nuclear as well. Nuclear from Chaos. Chaos has pushed the big red button, kills one of the Light Warriors. You have to commit at this point. Do you misses? Chaos has evasion. Chaos has evasion. He's gonna need more to get through at this point. How much do you want to commit? You gotta get these evasion stacks up. You also have to start using drink stress. Tornado, another non-elemental. Nuclear Tornado, 492 damage from that Masamune. It's A and Prey now. 520, critical. Going to continue swinging. Let's go. Another miss. Another miss on both sides. Here we go. Another miss. Evasions taking its toll on both sides of the party. How long before that next spell comes in? Before that next skill? We know Nuclear and Tornado are in the pool for skills, and we are in a RNG loop from the looks like it. This looks like an RNG loop of missing. And he gets it done with the RNG loop. 520 comes in. Tarnin kills K.
Get those GGs in chat as Tarnin.Duns with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 11 seconds, and secures a trip to the Elite 8 in the bracket round.
A RNG loop to get that 520 crit to come right around the board. That is an impressive way to finish off this seed.
That's how you RNG loop, though.
Oh, goodness.
You find that spot where Chaos can't kill you before you can kill him.
I think the RNG loop was exactly 3 misses on both sides, followed by a 520 miss. So, Chaos could not hurt Tarnin at that point, and got the RNG loop set up, because Chaos was very dangerous tonight. Both physically, and skill-wise. So we have Dengwoo on the Bridge of Destiny. We know Warmech is unrunnable. Chat, if you want to see a Warmech, this is the time to hype it up.
Now, we also know that Dengwoo is in a different place in the step counter than Tarnin was, because I don't even think Tarnin saw more than one air. So, we may not see the Warmech on Dengwoo's side.
Dengwoo, already acknowledged. And is taking encounters for the fan. Gets his robot chicken, the unrunnable robot that is Warmech. More white shirts coming in. Going to get full in, trying to bane Warmech with some power gauntlet and he's going for pure dang strats at this point, trying to bane the war.
Yeah, we're working on getting Tarnin in here for his interview, but I'll be working on that while Q commentates. For
lots of white shirts, again, getting all these evasion stacks, getting a power gauntlet, and still going for these poison smokes. You know, the thief is not going to bring much to the table against this evasive Warmech. 506 damage. Nuke from Warmech. Warmech had nuke tonight. Warmech has got the one light warrior doing damage on one knee at this point. Using the Woat special, the Sun Sword, he has to get it done with these couple swings at this point. 153 damage. That's not enough. He's going to need a little bit more. More misses. More inks. Again, the nuke is the thing that's scary. Blizzard's scary too, and it only really will take one last thing to knock off that light warrior as it comes in. Lightning 3. Lightning 3. We have no more damage at this point. It's going to be white hits from prey, and the Ice Sword gets it done with 127. Nothing here. Dang has forfeited from the race. But for the fans, he has killed Warmech. He did it for us, in chat, watching the fan. That is one way to end the scene. Nuke from the War Mech wipes out your main damage dealer, and you have to come in there with the Ice Sword and clutch the... That is a difficult thing to find. A difficult thing to see. At 2 hours in, these seeds have put these two runners to the test every single time. I've been here to see at least two of them, and boy, they just do not hold anything back against these runners. Every dungeon they check, something nasty. As we are joined by Dengwoo in chat and in the commentary room, how are you doing, my friend? Do you still need me to hold you?
I'm just gonna go cry in a corner now. I had to play. I went to Ordeals, and I thought the zombie Ds were too strong. But I guess I could have gotten through with them originally.
It is definitely something, and wow. Dang. Watching you go into every single dungeon and be steps away from freedom, my heart breaks for you, man. Everything wanted to stop you half a second away from...
Yeah, I took the levels on the eye after wiping in Ordeals and the waterfall, and I knew the wizards were coming up, and, well, they got better turn order, and my thief Danny wasn't able to save me in time.
Yeah, that is
All right.
a disappointment on that one.
We have finally gotten Tarnin invited in here, so he should be joining us momentarily.
But dang, for the fans, once again, I was there at Game 1. Similar situation. You see the dot done, but you're on the Bridge of Destiny? You did it. You once again looked for the robot chicken. And I know, in my heart of hearts, thank you. Thank you for proving it for the fans, finding that unrunnable war mech, that nuking unrunnable war mech, and scrapping it for our fans.
Alright, and we finally have Tarnin here, so GG to both of y'all. That seed was, it was something.
That seed was something indeed. So, question one, everyone in the world but me knows, where was Deng at the end there?
Bridge of Destiny.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But,
Did he see the nuke in Ice Cave?
dang,
No.
I don't think you lived long enough to see that the wizards had nuke.
No, they just, at first turn, they glanced my whole party.
Yeah. The glances were a pain, the nukes were a pain. I wandered into Ice Cave without pro rings and found that mummies have all of the instant death in the world, and that was a pain. Warmac left me with one man standing with 2 hit points left. So that was exciting.
Yeah, Fight was the hero you needed in that seed, because we're pretty sure Fight was also the light warrior who had 11 HP left when you got out of Ice Cave.
He absolutely was. He's the one who lived through both of the nukes with 11 and 2 hit points left.
One step away from Ice Cave exit, too.
Yes, the step, and I'm sure with my fingers that I took an extra step somewhere. So I didn't even have to have that heart attack, so it was all my fault.
I don't know, I think your step routing was pretty good in Ice Cave.
Well, okay, good. Because, like, I was beating myself up when I got out of there. I'm like, 1 step, I'm sure I could have saved 1 step.
But yeah, nah, you managed to... There was a point, I think, somewhere in the match where it was just like, are we sure that Tarnin isn't the one applying Deng strats this time?
I mean, I had to dig deep on this one. Like, man, just so many puzzles that needed a problem solved. The whole like back hour of that race when I was in go mode, I had it in my head. I'm like, I am in go mode. I have literally everything I need, except I'm swinging a sun sword and don't have good armor, and there's a tail loose and a Mazza loose and a bunk loose. And it's like, I just need something to be able to finish. So of course they were in literally the last chest that I was going to check in the game.
Indeed. That was something.
Yeah,
But
Deng...
you got...
Sorry, Q. But, yeah, Deng, I have to say, the perseverance you showed in this match was... It was a thing.
I mean, what I do, I went early waterfall level 4. I actually got to check out all of the chests there. Then I went Ordeals level 5, almost killed the zombie dragon, wiped out, and I said, oh, maybe he's too strong, and left. That was the bad move on me.
How did you live through Ice Cave at level 4? I mean, Waterfall at level 4. How did you live through the mummies?
Danny the Thief is OP.
Wow. Yeah, I rolled into Ice Cave at like level 7, or Waterfall at like level 7, and I'm like, I got this. And those mummies just instant death the world out of me.
Well, I just seen it. I didn't get it out. I seen the chest, seen what it was there, and I reset out. I wasn't gonna stay. There was no way I was running out of.
Fair enough. So yeah, that was kind of a nightmare. I can't wait to watch it back. Did you have the 2000 IQ play to check mermaids early?
No, but I kept telling myself I should have, and I didn't.
Yeah, I should have too. It's the last place I went. It's where Mazza and Tail were both.
It figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is actually a question I have for both of you. At what point did you start saying to yourself, I'm going to have to do Topher without class changing?
Like an hour from when I finished. But that's when I kept saying it to myself, and then I kept saying, no, you're going to keep opening chests, and you're going to lose to Deng, and that is fine. We are not face grinding this Topher without a class change or a weapon above a sun sword. And so I just kept opening all of the chests ever. When on Bridge of Destiny, when my whole party got wiped down to just fight, I'm like, okay, plan B. I just got a bunch of levels on one fighter. Maybe I can like get him up to 32 and be able to sun sword my way through. And then I started thinking like, plan C. What if I can get a black belt up to like 42 on those Agamas that weren't terribly scary? Yeah, I was having all the terrible thoughts.
Yeah, that was one thing I was wondering from both of you, is what is the point where you say, oh crap, I have to go grind this black belt?
Yeah, I kept, if that mermaids had not had either Tail or Mazza, I was gonna go throw my face at Topher once, when I inevitably died, which against that Topher I definitely would have. And then I was gonna go res my black belt and grind him up to like 42 or something on either Eyes or Agamas. I remember Eyes had something scary. Stone Touch, I want to say?
Stun Touch, I think.
Yeah, so they weren't great, but the Agamas just like cast some awful spell first turn, so I think I probably would have taken a black belt to 42 there if I hadn't found either Mazza or Tail. And then of course they were both just sitting right there.
So here's the real thing, though, that everyone in chat has been wondering for most of this match.
Mm-hmm.
Why did both of you skip the top of Marsh?
Because it's 3 chests. Right, it's 3 chests at like 2 to 3 minutes, and I just didn't feel like it was worth it. I had already found 2 loose by that point, so it was just looking for Tail, and just 3 chests at 2 to 3 minutes didn't seem worth it.
Dang.
I was just so far. I knew after I left Ordeals, after that wipe on the zombie dragon, and then I did volcano, ice, and stuff like that. I knew I was way behind, so I just took gambles and more gambles and tried to hold off levels, hoping for that tail, and yeah.
Man, if you had gambled mermaids like at the 1 hour to 1 hour 30 mark, I mean I haven't seen your play, obviously. I don't know how the match went for you, but man, if you had gone there, 90 minutes before me, that would have been amazing.
If things had progressed exactly as they had, Deng would have dipped mermaids about the time you were finishing up Sky.
Oh, okay. I mean, it still would have helped him get back in it.
Yeah, he went Sea while you went Sky.
Yeah.
And then he went to Volcano while you were doing Sea. And then was doing Sky while you were doing Topher. Was kind of how the progression went.
So just 8 or 9 minutes behind then, right?
No, he already had Earth done. If you had lost on Chaos, then it would have been
Neck and neck.
not quite. Oh yeah, that's right. Because he still need to go find the tail, or else make that desperate attempt against Topher. Which, dang, you did keep your black belt up a little bit longer, so it's also possible you may have caught up if you both were forced into a black belt grind by not having the tail.
I mean, that was my plan when I originally dove Volcano, and I dove all the way down. I was going to do an Agma grind early just to get the black belt up to 20-something, and then run out. But the problem was Agmas had paralyzing touch, and Eyes had stone touch.
Yeah, there was not a friendly grind there. Man, if you had gotten a 22 BB early, that would have been a brick on the gas in a pretty slow seed. That would have been really good if the Agamas and the Eye had wanted to cooperate with you.
Yeah, chat was heartbroken when you lost that Eye grind, though, Ding, just so you know.
I knew it was coming. I knew those 2 wizards were coming, and unfortunately I got back-to-back 4 to 5 wizards, and they got turn order and glanced everybody before they could run.
Ah, sucks. That really, really sucks.
Yeah, no, you both played a really difficult seed really well, all things considered. Considering the party comps y'all opted to take, and just the seed you were handed as a result of that, you got nothing to be ashamed of, either of you.
Yeah, we did, I know that we did fun, awesome, crazy parties for all 3 of them, but on top of that, we also got 3 pretty, spicy seeds rolled for us as well.
I'm sorry for 2 of them.
No, you're not.
You're right, I'm not.
Well, I hope it was fun to watch at least.
Oh, it was amazingly fun to watch. But yeah, you both can go rest. Dang, welcome to the party on Crescent Lake. Tarnin, good luck with whoever survives the Shadow Walker versus Falconic throwdown tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. I'll need to watch that to see who I'm playing.
I believe it is at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, so...
Oh.
And just as a reminder, my bracket is entitled No Pressure Tarnin.
Oh, good. No pressure indeed. I'll try to give it my best.
Yeah, no, I just expect you to win the whole thing, so no pressure.
I mean, I got lucky to get through this round through Dang. I'll be lucky to get through next round through either Shadowwalker or Falconic, but then after that, I mean, good luck to me if I make it that far, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so any final thoughts from you, Dang?
Good luck to Tarnin. Thanks everybody for watching and rooting for me. Tried my best, and I'm hanging out with the confused old men in Crescent now.
All right, Tarnin, anything else to add?
I want to thank Dang for doing these crazy parties with me. Most people are unwilling to, do something kind of wacky, kind of out there, kind of this is going to make both of our sufferings increase. Are you down? So I really appreciate him agreeing to do it. It made for 3 really hair-raising and stressful, but also fun and different than the rest of the tournament was kind of seeds. And all tournament, I was hoping to get to pair against him because I've never gotten to play like directly against him, and it was exciting. I had a good time. I'm really appreciative, and I hope not to embarrass myself too much next round. Thanks everyone for watching, for support, for doing comms or tracking. Thanks Danny, she's amazing, best tracker we have, not even close. Yeah, that's it.
Q, you have anything to add?
Well, for those of you wanting more Final Fantasy 1 randomizer action, we do have one more race scheduled today. The Edgeworth versus Tyrannix Game 3. Again, another rubber match tonight. On 7 p.m., I believe that is on Speed Gaming 3 tonight. We have a total of potentially 5 matches tomorrow. So, if the one fine day St. Von Jester goes to a full Game 3, we have a double header scheduled at, I believe that is at 5 p.m. and immediately following, after that match, will be Game 3. Then we have Tristal and Do You MacGyver that is on the 5... That's tomorrow as well for theirs. Match 2 and potentially match 3. And then we have Spellzap and Minochi at, I believe that is 9 p.m. Eastern. So, starting immediately at 11 o'clock a.m. tomorrow, Tristal and Do You MacGyver, One Fine Day at 5 p.m., and immediately following if needed for a Game 3 between One Fine Day and St. Von Jester. And Spellzap and Minochi Game 3 at 9 p.m. So, Edgeworth tonight, Tristal, Do You MacGyver, One Fine Day, St. Von Jester, and Spellzap and Minochi tomorrow. So, lots of action left to go in this bracket state.
Absolutely. And, yeah, I think just to reiterate what Tarnin already said, thanks to the runners for putting on a fantastic performance. Make sure to give them a follow. The links are right there. Thanks to Q and Danny for helping on the support side of things. You can also find links to them over there in the chat. And thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting all of this craziness and generally helping us out when things break. So, oh, and I guess thanks to you guys as well for watching out there, because, you know, there's no point in having these shows if there's not an audience. So, GG to y'all, GG to everyone in the booth here, and you know what? From the Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament, we'll see y'all tonight. Or else.